So today we're going to jump into section 3.2. We'll be talking about measurement and a lot of just unit conversions that occur between various units. You'll see this as we jump right into our notes here. So let me just jump to it. Again, all these notes are available on Canvas. You can download them. You can review them at your own discretion if you'd like. But really, again, I like going through them because it kind of provides a nice framework for the whole section of content. I do want to point out that on Canvas, I do have a conversion table that has a lot of conversions, probably far more than you'll need for the purposes of this course. But I also want to point you really quick to, let me go to the website here really quick. So you can actually see on the through WebAssign the actual textbook, and like I said in the past, the textbook is really great. It's very, very useful. It's got all of these unit conversions. It's got the metric system, kind of a good explanation of the metric system, some good explanations of how this all works. And so I'd really encourage everybody to go and check this stuff out as you're working on these homework assignments, because the content is really top notch, I would say. So let me go back to our notes here. And so what we're going to do is we are going to, this is just as a quick example, I'll go through a few more in this video, but we're going to convert 18 inches to feet. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, come on, that one's really easy, right? Like 18 inches, that's 1.5 feet, right? 12 inches is a foot, 6 inches, another 1/2 foot. We add those together, we get everything we need. So, but the way that we do the conversion is going to be really useful. And this is the way that I prefer you try working on these kinds of problems. Okay. So if you look, you have 1 foot is 12 inches, but really what we're going to end up doing is just a series of cancellations. So we have 18 inches here. And what we're going to do when we do the unit conversions is that one of the properties of multiplication and division is that when you divide the same units one by another, the units cancel themselves out. So we are going to multiply by a fraction, and on the bottom, that same unit that we had next to it is going to be used. And the unit that we're converting to is going to be the one that's on the top. So in this instance, we know that 18 inches, we want to convert inches to feet. So the feet is going to be on the top, the inches will be on the bottom. And I know that 1 foot, this is where the unit conversion comes in. The 1 foot is the same thing as 12 inches. And ultimately what we end up getting when we multiply this out is 18 over 12. Then you do the division and you'll see that the division here, 18 over 12, is the same thing as 1.5 feet. So again, I have that kind of description right there, pretty much what I just described. You can go ahead and read that again if you want. We will also be talking about the metric system, but the metric system, it's really funny because when I was younger, a while back, every teacher that I had was insistent that we were going to end up switching to the metric system at some point. Now, it's been 30 years and we have not even come close to switching, so I doubt very seriously that we're going to switch to the metric system. I will say the metric system is a lot easier when you're converting between units because all you do is move a decimal point. So it makes life a lot easier, but the process or the standard prefixes that we use, so kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centa, milli, you can remember them with this nice kind of phrase, right? King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. So you've got the K, kilo, hecto, deca. This is your base unit. Your B is your base unit. Drinking, deca, centa, milli, right? You got the M there. So again, I don't know if King Henry actually died by drinking chocolate milk, but regardless, it's a good, helpful tool for remembering conversions. And again, we're going to work through multiple examples of this here in just a second. So let's actually jump into some notes. We'll go to the Blackboard here. And I want to convert 7,000 pounds to tons. Okay. 7,000 pounds to tons. So if we follow the same process that we did in that example problem, we are going to try canceling these things out, right? Try canceling out the units by placing them on the bottom. So we multiply by the unit that we're canceling on the bottom, the one that we're converting to on the top. So this is where it comes into the important fact, what is a ton? Let me go ahead and switch back to my browser. We can actually grab it here. All right. So we've got some unit conversions here. It looks like right here, 2,000 pounds is the same thing as 1 ton, right? 2,000 pounds is 1 ton. Again, I'd encourage you to use the website, the textbook. It's really useful, pretty beneficial. And go ahead and switch back. So 2,000 pounds is 1 ton. So again, the units that I'm canceling are going to be on the bottom of that fraction that I'm multiplying, okay? So it should not be on the top. So in this instance, I'm converting from pounds to tons. So I'm going to end up having 7,000 over 2,000. And you can go ahead. This is going to be in terms of tons. Okay. And that really is just going to be the same as 3.5. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and do another one. In this instance, I'll do a metric unit conversion. So we'll convert 76 centimeters to meters. Okay. So in this instance, I like when I'm working on the metric system, I'll write out that King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. And so my unit, my center unit, I'm going to use like a little kind of O with a dash through it. Drinking chocolate milk. So you'll notice on the left-hand side, I've got capitals. Those are the big units. And the ones on the right-hand side are all lowercase. These are small units. Again, it's just kind of a mental way of keeping track. And so what I'm doing is I'm going from centa to, okay, so that's 1 decimal place to the right. And the direction, sorry, I'm doing it a little backwards here. This is to the right. Okay, sorry, my camera's backwards. So one thing I want to point out is when you are looking on this little kind of sentence thing that you wrote out, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, the direction that you're moving is the same as the direction you're moving down below when you actually are working through the problem. So in this instance, this is 76.0 centimeters. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that decimal and move it to the right 1 spot, just like I did up above. Okay. And so as a result, this is going to turn into 760 millimeters. Okay. And you can do that across the board. So if I was going from centa right here to say my base unit, I would be moving it 2 units to the left, 1, 2, that would be 0.76 meters, right? So that's kind of the idea with centa to, or really any kind of metric conversions, you're just moving the decimal in the direction that you moved when you are looking at this pattern up above. So it's kind of nice, actually. It makes life really easy. Not as complicated as using inches, feet, furlongs. If anyone does anything with horses, you'll know what a furlong is. If you don't, it's, yeah. Who uses furlongs? Nobody does. Only the horse race. Okay, let's go ahead and do another one. We're going to find the weight. in kilograms of a 156 pound person. Okay. So first off, kilograms and pounds, those are two different units that we're looking at. So let's go ahead and jump over to our unit conversion thing. And the nice thing about this over here, we're converting between US and customary, the US units and the metric units. So it looks like 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds, right? 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. 1 kilogram is, and they use roughly because again, it's not exact. 0.2 pounds. Boom, there we go. So as a result, we're going 2 kilograms from pounds. So 156 pounds. We multiply, again, the pounds are going to be on the bottom. This is where we get the 2.2 from. This is going to be the kilogram. And so as a result, I end up getting 156 divided by 2.2 kilograms, whatever that is. And that works out to being, I've gone ahead and done this ahead of time, so you don't have to watch me fiddle with my phone. But this is going to be 70.91 kilograms. And that makes sense, right? Again, a lot of times when you're working through these problems, ask yourself, does that make sense? This right here makes sense because I'm going, a kilogram I know is more than a pound, and so I should have a smaller number than what the original poundage was. Is that a word? Original poundage? Whatever. The original amount, I know that the conversion makes it smaller, so it should be smaller size. So anyway, all right. Let's do another one. Convert. 25 miles per hour. Ooh, this is to kilometers per hour. kph. Okay. Okay, so the trick on this one is you're really doing a conversion between miles and kilometers. When you're dealing with velocity and speed, that's the challenging part here, because a lot of times it's like, wait a minute, I don't see, if you go back to the site and you'll see like, I don't see miles per hour into kilometers per hour. How does that work? The reason why is because miles and kilometers are the unit that you're converting. The hours are constant, right? It's not like people in different countries measure time differently. Maybe they do, but as far as my understanding is like an hour is an hour everywhere all across the world. Like there's no difference whatsoever. So the true unit that you're converting is actually miles and kilometers. And so when you're working with, whoops, sorry about that. If I've got 25 miles per hour here, I'm going to multiply this on the bottom. My miles and my kilometers are going to be up on top, right? So my miles per hour, this is going to end up being, so let's go back and switch. What was it? 1 mile is 1.61 kilometers, okay? So 1 mile here is 1.61 kilometers per hour here. So the difference is really, I mean, it's just because it's dealing with velocity and not necessarily, it's a rate, not a ratio, like what we had in the previous sections. So 25 times 1.61 is ultimately going to get, remember these units, I should kind of point that out. These units cancel, okay? So we are going to be left with 25 times 1.61, which is 40.25 kph. And that's my final answer. Okay. As I said, on Canvas, there's likely going to be a large sheet that you can download if you want to have access to something that's a little bit more specific. But really, that's all I have for this lesson. It's a nice short one, pretty straightforward, hopefully. If you do have any questions, let me know. Reach out to me. Have a great one.